Our protagonist wakes up with an expression of astonishment. He exclaims, surprised by the unfamiliar surroundings. He is in a crowded arena and wonders where he is, showing confusion and disorientation about his location. The protagonist observes the place, which is identified as the mythological arena audience area. His name is Liu Changsheng, a transmigrated and third-year archaeology student in his previous life. A friend, Zhou Hao, scolds the protagonist, Liu Changsheng, to stop daydreaming, reminding him that it is Divine Awakening Day, a rare event that happens once a decade. Liu Changsheng reflects on the Divine Awakening Day. 100 years ago, mythological arena descended upon the continent. Gods of various nations were resurrected, and when a human turns 16, they can use the Divine Awakening Stone to summon a god. Those who successfully summon a god gain divine power and represent their country in battles in the mythological arena. But if you invoke the wrong name, there is only one result. A god or powerful entity attacks someone who made the incorrect invocation, showing intense fury. The character is consumed by flames and disintegrates, with the attack lethal. Chinese civilization has fractured, with many historical and mythological records lost. Countless Chinese sages sacrificed their lives to ensure a century of peace, but subsequent generations struggle to remember their names. An individual in formal attire, identified as City Lord. The awakening ceremony officially begins. The protagonist observes the crowd with a serious expression. If the summon fails, you will turn into dust. Liu Changsheng comments on the dangerousness of the world. Someone exclaims, "Look, the image shows a young woman with white hair being observed by a group of people." A line identifies her as Liu Yanran, who placed first in the national exams. Liu Yanran is identified as the daughter of the great swordsman Liu Rufeng. The young woman stands out with her appearance. Zhou Hao comments on her chances of summoning a powerful god due to her ancestry, admiring her beauty, skills, and origin. Hao claims that whoever achieved it would save 10 years of hard work. He says he regrets that the Huaxia nation is about to lose in the mythological arena, expressing his wish that Liu Yanran will be able to summon a powerful god to fight for his country. The MC agrees with the feeling of apprehension, emphasizing the importance of the next invocation, while someone can be heard shouting, "Next, component placement, Liu Yanran." Liu Yanran prepares for the summoning. Two men, apparently officers, watch and encourage her, wishing her to summon a high-ranking god to save Huaxia. An unusual phenomenon occurs during Liu Yanran's summoning. The city lord watches, realizing that it must be a high-level god. Liu Yanran's summoning is successful, several gods appearing. While the city lord looks on in awe, the protagonist watches the invocation in surprise. He thinks about the images of the gods, recognizing them as identical to those from his past life. The protagonist and others observe the appearance of a powerful god, arising from a successful summoning. The god appears as Liu Yanran chants her story. The name of the god of death will be passed on. Attack the nations and never surrender. The Battle of Red stained the hills with blood. His heart shone through the sky. Liu Yanran, with her arms in a prayer position, performs a summoning ritual saying, "I, Liu Yanran, humbly request the presence of the god of war, Bai Qi." Liu Changsheng asks, with a puzzled expression, "Bai Qi, what does he do in the Battle of the Cliffs? Wasn't it part of the Battle of Changping?" A general of the Jin dynasty, who fought in the Battle of Changping between the late Qin dynasty and early Jin dynasty, hundreds of years ago. They have nothing to do with each other. Zhou Hao says that the MC is crazy for questioning the first place in the national exams. Liu Yanran comes from a family of swordsman scholars. A group of people criticize Liu Changsheng for questioning Liu Yanran, highlighting her social position and abilities. For him, all of that is pathetic. He thinks that modern civilization has completely collapsed. He says in thought that people have already forgotten his story. The city lord says that the compatibility rate is 40%, revealing that Liu Yanran has awakened an S-class god, the god of war, Bai Qi. Bai Qi, the god of war, appears in his imposing and powerful form, an S-class summon awaited by the daughter of the immortal swordsman. The city lord comments that Liu Yanran has a bright future, but unfortunately, it will take time for her to grow stronger. The older man says that in the upcoming mythological battles, it will be necessary to wait for the return of the immortal Liu from the border. Liu Yanran turns her face to look at something. She is standing, emitting a purple aura, as the two men observe her from afar. The city lord wonders what she is doing, wondering if she is trying to summon an unknown god. A great and powerful emperor emerges. Someone exclaims that emperor gods are even rarer. Liu Yanran watches the emperor in front of her. This is Emperor Taizong of the Tang dynasty. He conquered the world at a young age, being a legendary emperor. Unfortunately, historical records of emperors are scarce. Liu Changsheng disagrees with the emperor's identification, stating that in the Sui and Tang dynasties, imperial robes were predominantly yellow and no emperor wore black. Liu Changsheng watches from below, wondering if this god is what he is thinking of. An older man shouts, "Wait!" The man explains that this is the first time in 100 years that a god-emperor has appeared in the mythological arena, and that countless emperors have appeared in China's long history. Li Xuan, dean of Tianxuan Academy, one of the 4 great academies in Huaxia, comments that choosing unwisely would be risky. The city lord asks Yaran to give up, and that she is the future of Huaxia and cannot afford to fail. She stops and observes the god-emperor. Liu Yanran says that if she moves away, this high-level god will disappear from this world. The dean says they can't risk the future high-level fighting force. Li Xuan orders them to notify Tianxuan Academy that they will use 10 years of national wealth to anchor the emperor's soul, and that they will observe whether the students who are arriving for divine awakening can recognize him. The other man, apparently subordinate, agrees and says who will follow orders. So the Firebird flies across the sky, leaving a bright trail. Li Xuan explains to the students that a high-ranking god has appeared in Huaxia, possibly Emperor Taizong of the Tang dynasty. He highlights the importance of this god for the survival of Huaxia. The Huaxia nation suffered a crushing defeat. Presenter Aphrodite reports on the Divine War, the first round, Sakura versus Huaxia, resulted in Sakura's victory. The second round, also with Sakura's victory, Li Xuan notes that Huaxia has already lost 2 rounds of the Divine War, and without a high-level god relying only on the immortal swordsman, his chances are slim. He understands that Huaxia's cultural fracture makes identifying gods extremely risky. He says maybe they will die. Looking at the crowd of students, Li Xuan asks who else would dare to try. A student says that this unknown god may not be Emperor Taizong of the Tang dynasty, and if he invokes the wrong name, he will die. A young man claims that in Huaxia they do not fear death, and that Kyoto Academy will not fail, and he will try. A young girl says that the Magic Capital Academy, Chunyu, is also willing to try. Several students volunteer to try to summon an unknown god. Someone raises their hand and claims to know the origin of this god, and that it is different from the dean's judgment. Liu Changsheng of Jinling Academy says he is willing to try to summon the unknown god. People question his identity and say that Jinling Academy has low exam scores. His friend asks if he is joking, reminding him that invoking the wrong name leads to death. The dean watches Liu Changsheng approaching, commenting that he looks confident, and wonders if this child really knows the history of this emperor. He says in thought that he had already reviewed all the records, and concludes that the only emperor who fits the characteristics is Emperor Taizong of the Tang dynasty, but he considers himself to be wrong. The dean says he believes in Liu Changsheng, and because he is so confident, he will let him try, and that they cannot stand in the way of the pure heart of a citizen of Huaxia. In the stands of the Sakura Nation, someone watches the unknown god who appeared in Huaxia. A man says that people are fighting to the death over this, and comments on Huaxia's ignorance and how a culturally impoverished country cannot be compared with the great Sakura nation. Liu Changsheng approaches the stone when someone tries to offend him by mocking him. When touching the stone, it emits a radiant red light. An explosion of orange and red energy occurs. The audience wants to know what is happening and asks if he activated an unknown high-level god. Liu Yanran watches, commenting that a red phenomenon is emanating. In the Sakura nation, someone comments that the strongest aura should be orange. In India, someone says they only heard that their nation and Greece ever produced gods with an orange aura. In Korea, someone asks what's with that red aura. They wonder if the Divine Awakening Stone has malfunctioned. The city lord observes the god's aura when Dean Li Xuan states that this is the aura of an SSS-class god. It explains the current divine aura levels: white, green, blue, purple, and orange. Few know that above orange is red. Currently, the only god in the world with a red aura resides in the Vatican and is known as the god. The city lord wonders if Huaxia really had an SSS-level god in its history. Liu Changsheng thinks that the SSS level is the limit for the gods, but not for him. Even if other gods are SSS level, they can't compare to him. Liu Yanran thinks, an SSS-level god? Can he be summoned successfully? She then comments about Lu Changsheng's exam grades not being ideal. An immense, shining god emerges. Wreathed in flames, the MC comments on the activation of an unknown SSS-level god other than the Emperor God, and he asks the Dean what kind of god is this? The Dean observes the god, commenting on his strength and size. He wonders if it could be ancient god Xing Tian. Lu Changsheng knows that Xing Tian was headless, using his chest as eyes and his belly as a mouth, wielding an axe and shield in battle. Since this god has a head and limbs, he cannot be Xing Tian. The protagonist thinks that the myths of Huaxia have long disappeared, and that perhaps this is the reason why he came to this world. Then Lu Changsheng tells a story. Pangu created the heavens and the earth, and with his immense power established the universe. Although his body has perished, his spirit remains, nourishing the land and people. He performs the invocation, saying, I humbly request the presence of the first god of creation, Pangu. In the Sakura Nation Bleachers section, a group of people are panicking, with a red-haired man reacting with surprise and disbelief upon learning that he is a god of creation. In the Huaxia Nation's Bleachers section, people say that you can't judge a person by appearance. They never thought that he could awaken an SSS-level god, and question how he knows the identity of this god of creation. Lu Changsheng happily watches his invocation. He says that Pangu opened the heavens and the earth, transforming his body into all things, and claims that he is absolutely the supreme god. Lu Changsheng watches as a system panel appears before him. The panel shows your name, compatibility 1%, and main god Pangu. About that, a boy with an expression of shock and surprise exclaims, What? Pangu, the creator god and leader of the gods, appears in his imposing form in the Huaxia Temple of the Gods. The boy observes the scene, finding it unbelievable. The boy running around commenting that it looks like they should ring the bell of destiny and announce it to the world. Already facing the bell of destiny, he prepares to ring it. The boy hits the bell with a hammer, creating a golden glow and a loud sound. Waves of golden energy spread across the stage after the bell rings 9 times. Lu Qing, the immortal swordsman, asks if he heard it wrong. A woman replies no, it was really 9 bells. The Dean explains that 9 rings of the Bell of Destiny is a final number, never seen before. He claims that Lu Changsheng has activated a supreme god and thanks the heavens that bless Huaxia, which now also has a supreme god. Liu Yanran thinks, an SSS-level god? She then comments that the strongest god in the history of Huaxia only made the Bell of Destiny ring 3 times. Emperor Tokugawa is furious, saying that mere boy from Huaxia has awakened a supreme god. He slams his hand on the table, with a cup falling to his side. Emperor Tokugawa asks Lord Matsumoto is he confident in dealing with the newly awakened god. Wrapped in snakes, he commented that even though he was a blessed individual, it would be difficult to summon him in the arena due to his current compatibility. Matsumoto says that with his current strength, he can easily destroy the individual and his god. Emperor Tokugawa orders them to kill Lu Changsheng before he grows stronger. They must spread the news and start the divine war. Emperor Tokugawa is furious, saying that they cannot let Lu Changsheng live. An energy emanates from the protagonist's body. He says that an SSS-level god is the pinnacle of most gods, but that is not the limit of Pangu. Lu Changsheng again describes Pangu. He opened the heavens. His body transformed into all things. His soul became a sage, and his battle strength is supreme. He says that unfortunately, with his current compatibility, it is difficult to control Pangu's power when facing the Emperor God in front of him. When it is announced that the Sakura Nation has consumed 10 years of national fortune to start a named divine war against Lu Changsheng of Huaxia, all participants must prepare for battle within 10 minutes. The floor where the protagonist is standing cracks, and he begins to levitate with Lu Changsheng on top. The beginning of the named divine war is announced. Lu Changsheng was transported to a different dimension. The Dean and City Lord say that Lu Changsheng has become a projection, and there is no going back. He has already been transported to the inner realm. The two men express their anger, and Liu Yanran comments that these tactics are treacherous. In the Sakura Nation's Bleachers section, a group of people laugh, commenting that the others are panicking and that they were just worried. Emperor Tokugawa explains that the named divine war serves 2 purposes: to secure victory in the mythical arena and to eliminate the god-blessed genius of Huaxia before he can rise. Tokugawa smiles maliciously, commenting that the immortal swordsman of Huaxia is not an easy enemy, and that as for the national and consumed fortune, Lu Changsheng will be dead. The immortal swordsman reacts to a notification of a war of national fortune. The woman explains that the Sakura nation consumed 10 years of national fortune to prematurely start the mythical arena and eliminate the Huaxia prodigy in advance. It is explained that the named divine war can only target God-blessed individuals of SSS level or higher. Once initiated, the blocked individual must enter the scene. Lu Changsheng is like an eagle facing serpents, but now he is nothing more than an inexperienced bird. The bespectacled woman explains that the Sakura nation is using the appointed divine war to target the newly awakened individual of Huaxia. She comments that this way, the opponent can strategically organize their forces and that this is the first time that the named divine war has appeared in the mythic arena. The furious immortal swordsman comments that if Huaxia's genius falls in this battle, he will set foot on Xijing on the same day next year. A few minutes later, Matsumoto observes Lu Changsheng's arrival and comments that they started a divine war because of a child. Matsumoto says that even if the immortal swordsman of Huaxia was there, he could still easily tear him apart. Lu Changsheng thinks that Pangu would be impossible to summon, but the imperial god he repaired with fortune will reappear in the mythical arena. Matsumoto asks Lu Changsheng what's wrong, and if he doesn't have the courage to face him. Matsumoto has an expression of shock and anger, asking, "What?" Lu Changsheng comments that Matsumoto's snakehead would make a great stew. Matsumoto says that the MC has a sharp tongue. He then states that he will soon cut off Lu Changsheng's head and feed it to his god. Aphrodite announces that both participants are in place, and the mythical arena battle begins. The battle will be broadcast globally. The participating nations are Huaxia and the Sakura nation. It is the third fight of the arena battle, and the Sakura nation has won 2 fights. If they win one more, they will win. She says that if Huaxia loses, she will be forced to hand over half her population and half her national fortune to the Sakura nation. The rules of the mythical arena are shown. In each battle, 5 gods will be randomly drawn. Competitors can summon one of them. A god once summoned cannot appear in subsequent battles. The fight follows a best-of-5 format. Only the winner survives, while the loser's god perishes. Lu Changsheng in thought says that victory means life and defeat means death, that he was perfect, and that today he will resolve his personal and national accounts. He comments that hundreds of individuals blessed by God have already died at the hands of Orochi. He declares that today they will not only decide victory and defeat, but also life and death. And Matsumoto disdains this statement. Aphrodite asks if both participants understand the rules. They confirm. Aphrodite declares that the battle can begin now. It is announced that both participants have confirmed the rules. The personal information of the 2 fighters is shown. Matsumoto Genzu, S-rank God-blessed individual. SS rank awakened god, Yamada no Orochi. Meanwhile, Lu Changsheng stretches for battle. Aphrodite announces the start of the next battle between the Sakura nation and the Huaxia nation. It's the 3rd fight and asks them to invoke their god. Matsumoto Genzo is the first to approach the divine stone. Emperor Tokugawa comments that as expected, he is the god Yamata. Lord Matsumoto truly fits the profile of an S-rank God-blessed individual, and their compatibility is almost perfect. The spectators of the Sakura Kingdom are confident that Matsumoto will win the fight, stating that the god Yamata has already destroyed 2 of the gods of Huaxia. At this moment, Lu Changsheng is being sucked into a pillar of blue light. Both the city lord and Dean Li Xuan are apprehensive. At that moment, several gods appear around Lu Changsheng, who observes the scene from afar. Dean Li Xuan confirms this by telling Lu Changsheng that the god Yamata has already destroyed 2 of his gods, while other characters observe the scene with expressions of concern. As Matsumoto summons Orochi, "Orochi, obey my order, awaken." Observing God, Emperor Lu Changsheng says that he should not be forgotten, nor should he be buried in the dust of history. Lu Changsheng is about to summon an unknown god, and someone comments that this is too risky. Dean Li Xuan explains that the most likely god king to be invoked by Lu Changsheng is Emperor Taizong of the Tang dynasty, Li Shimin, according to the secret archives, but Liu Yanren says it could also be Emperor Zhu Yunzhang of the Tang dynasty. Ming Lu Changsheng, on the other hand, has a confident expression. Then he recites, "King Qin conquered all the kingdoms under the heavens. His power was like that of a tiger. Wielding his sword, he swept the heavens, and all the lords came from the west. He stood alone through the ages, a single emperor." Lu Changsheng is about to invoke Ying Zheng, the founder of Huaxia, So he says, the unworthy descendants of later generations now pay homage to the founder of Huaxia, Yingzheng. With that, Yingzheng is surrounded by golden energy, starting the invocation. Yingzheng is summoned in full as an SS-level god, while Lu Changsheng bows in respect. Both the city lord and Dean Li Xuan celebrate the successful invocation, exclaiming, "May the heavens bless Huaxia." Dean Li Xuan says that it is a pity that the summoned god is a human god, which makes the city lord surprised. Dean Li Xuan notes that the strength of human gods is generally weaker than demon gods of the same rank. The human god summoned by Lu Changsheng may not be a match for the eight-headed serpent at the same level. It is announced that both sides have successfully invoked their gods, and the battle begins. Matsumoto comments that Lu Changsheng was unable to summon a creator god, but that he surprised him even more by having summoned a weak human god. He laughs at Lu Changsheng, saying that he just summoned a human god. Just a mortal one. Lu Changsheng pays respect to his ancestor Yingzheng. He says that future generations may have forgotten Yingzheng, but from today, that will no longer happen. He says that Yingzheng's achievements as the first emperor will forever be remembered by his descendants. Looking at Yingzheng, Lu Changsheng comments that he unified the written language, standardized vehicles and roads, and united the people of the 7 states. He planted the seed of unification in the hearts of the people of Great Xia. Lu Changsheng highlights Yingzheng's actions, stating that the people of Xia, for 100 generations and 1,000 years, will never forget that their lands cannot be divided. He protected the vast rivers and mountains from foreign invasion and built the Great Wall to defend the homeland, and he unified thought in the world, burning heretical texts and foolish books. Lu Changsheng is being enveloped by a bright yellow energy with the design of a dragon. A blue panel shows information about Lu Changsheng's summoning, character, Lu Changsheng, compatibility, 60%, summoned god, Yingzheng. Liu Yanran questions whether what Lu Changsheng said is really the story of Huaxia. She wonders if there was an emperor with such feats in history. Matsumoto belittles Yingzheng, saying, "So what if you're an emperor? What can a human god do?" Yingzheng points to Lu Changsheng and asks, "Who is he?" He describes him as a foreigner who oppresses Huaxia. Upon learning of this, Yingzheng becomes furious, declaring that those who offend Huaxia must die. A group of spectators from the Sakura Nation mocking Lu Changsheng for summoning a weak human god and his grandiose words. They remember when the previous 2 gods of Huaxia were defeated. Matsumoto comments on Yingzheng's authoritative presence, as expected from someone who was once emperor. Yamata no Orochi says that Yingzheng is arrogant for challenging a real god, since he is just a human god. Yingzheng is performing a ritual, saying that in his life, something enveloped in flames begins to emerge. Then he says that his only regret is that he never killed a god. Then a golden sword appeared in his hand. Then Yingzheng declares Qin, the legendary sword, as his weapon. The spectators of the Tianzhu nation watch Lu Changsheng, questioning whether the human god of Huaxia is really preparing to fight. In the stand section of the stick country, people watch Yingzheng, commenting that he looks very pitiful, and in the group of spectators from the nation, Scylla observes Yingzheng, questioning whether he really intends to fight a god with a mortal body. Yamata no Orochi teases Yingzheng, saying that no matter how small he is still meat. He encourages you to wield your sword at will. Yamata no Orochi is about to attack Lu Changsheng while saying that this attack will show the difference between demon gods and human gods, as a mere mortal dares to blaspheme the gods. Yamata no Orochi attacks Lu Changsheng with a powerful attack, creating a large explosion and lots of debris around. Emperor Tokugawa declares that Yingzheng is finished and will be easily destroyed, just like the 2 gods before him. The Sakura Nation spectators watch the fight, commenting that there is no suspense. A human god cannot defeat a real god, no matter the rank. Amid the dust, the golden ray appears. Yingzheng attacks Yamata no Orochi with his sword, creating a large explosion. One of Yamata no Orochi's head is cut off. Emperor Tokugawa and his advisors are in shock at the result. Liu Yanran and 2 other characters show surprise, questioning whether Yingzheng actually cut off the 8-headed serpent's head with a single strike of his sword. Yamata no Orochi is shocked by Yingzheng's power, and asks how he achieved this, considering he has no divine power. Yingzheng explains that the sword he is using is the ancient Qin refining technique, forged by the countless Qi cultivators of Huaxia, a heaven-defying technique. Dean Li Xuan is amazed by Yingzheng's technique, questioning whether Huaxia's ancestors really managed to create such an impressive technique. Yamata no Orochi looks down on Yingzheng's Qi refining technique and is saddened that he only cut off one of his 8 heads. He claims that his body can regenerate severed limbs, making him immortal, thus completely regenerating his severed head. Furious, Yamata no Orochi asking Yingjung how a mere human god like him would dare stop him. He threatens Yingjung, saying that he must kneel and that if he dares to hurt him, he will be trapped in hell forever. Yingjung says that if he loses, he will be indebted to the people of Qin, but declares that he has never lost in his entire life, and Lu Changsheng watches him from the side. Yamata no Orochi is furious, exclaiming, "How dare you!" as he charges in for a new attack. The more heads there are, the more heads cut off by Yingjung's Qin attacks. While Yamata no Orochi regenerates his body, he tells Yingjung to give up. A group of spectators observe the fight, commenting on Yamata no Orochi's ability to regenerate. They wonder if Huaxia can really defeat such a cruel god. Yingjung, injured, wonders if no one can do this, not even the oldest god. He quickly advances towards the demon god. He uses a sequence of attacks, and in thought he says that he can feel that Yamata no Orochi is getting weaker, and that he cannot continue fighting. Yamata no Orochi counterattacks Yingjung, telling him to give up. The attack was strong enough to throw Yingjung to the ground, destroying him. Wounded and exhausted, the human god tries to get up. A woman cries as she watches Yingjung lying and bleeding in the arena. She exclaims, "Ancestor of Huaxia, your blood is spread all over the arena." Dean Li Xuan suggests that they prepare for defeat, because if Lu Changsheng dies, Huaxia will be unable to govern and become the best nation in the world. They cannot allow the boy to continue his sacrifice. Yingjung says that there are many snakeheads, but each time he feels more and more that he can defeat the demon god. Feeling the aura of great Qin, Yingjung declares that he owns all the land in the world, while surrounded by a fiery aura in the form of a dragon, and all the spirits of the human gods of Huaxia begin to be invoked, and head towards Yingjung. With that, Yingjung summons the divine armor of great Qin. The divine spirits begin to destroy all the heads of Yamata no Orochi, who tries to defend himself. Matsumoto is shocked by Yingjung's ability to summon so many divine spirits. He is determined not to let Yamata no Orochi lose. Matsumoto says there is still him, and that no matter how talented Lu Changsheng may be, he will still defeat him. Matsumoto prepares to fight by activating an invisibility technique, asking if Lu Changsheng forgot that the Divine Guardian's death also counts as a defeat. Lu Changsheng watched the fight between the gods as Matsumoto appears behind him, enveloped in a purple aura, ready to attack him. Liu Yanran and Dean Li Xuan warn Lu Changsheng to stay away from danger as Matsumoto is after him. Matsumoto tries to attack Lu Changsheng from behind, but he dodges and holds Matsumoto's arm, counterattacking by throwing him on the ground. People are surprised by Lu Changsheng's strength. Considering he only has 1% resonance with the creator, they wonder how strong Pangu can be. Lu Changsheng thinks that Pangu, as his contract deity, even with the slightest resonance, his body became as strong as a rock as he stared at Matsumoto on the ground. Matsumoto admits to being careless, but notes that Lu Changsheng, despite being a newcomer as a divine guardian, has a strong body. He questions whether Lu Changsheng knows the divine arts or any magic. Matsumoto belittles Lu Changsheng, calling him trash, and activates a technique. He uses his shadow clone technique, saying that his shadows can completely copy his strength and abilities. He asks Lu Changsheng if he thinks he has any chance of winning, considering he is an SS-class divine guardian. Lu Changsheng uses his agility to avoid the attacks by holding Matsumoto's 2 clones, while being dragged back by the force of the blows. Then, the protagonist makes the 2 clones collide. Lu Changsheng comments that Matsumoto is really an SS-class divine guardian, and that his blows are very strong. In the Huaxia stands, a man is shouting with joy, and 2 girls are celebrating Lu Changsheng's victory. In the Sakura Nation stands, a group of people are reacting to the fight. A man with blonde hair is shouting, telling them to shut up because they haven't lost yet. Emperor Tokugawa is shocked by the strength of the human god and Huaxia's new divine guardian. The divine spirits continue to cut off the heads without stopping, decreasing the demon god's power of regeneration. Yingjung observes the state of Yamata no Orochi, which is almost being defeated. At this moment, Yamata no Orochi is hungry for all the energy spent and demands offerings, and it ends up consuming everyone in the Sakura Nation stands to strengthen itself. Yamata no Orochi manages to become stronger even when on the verge of death, and it returns with its vitality reinvigorated, completely regenerating. Matsumoto is dead, and Lu Changsheng comments that when the divine guardian dies, the divine beast returns to its heavenly origins, but this demon god has not returned, so he decides to kill Yamata no Orochi to end everything once and for all. We then see Yamata no Orochi tell Yingjung that he is not fighting against him, but against millions of citizens of the Sakura Nation. Yingjung asks Orochi if he can sacrifice his citizens at will. Human god. Yingjung asks Orochi if these citizens are sacrificing their lives and becoming a source of energy for him to recover. The few survivors of the sacrifice in the Sakura Nation stands are in shock and disbelief at what they had just heard. Yingjung reminisces about his life, saying that he has struggled all his life and followed the divine path in his old age, and everyone has said that he is a fool, and although he cannot become divine, he has finally mastered a trick. Yingjung summons a power that can save the world, causing everyone to become dragons. He ascends to the heavens, enveloped in a brilliant golden light, and activates his immortal chi technique, strengthening the spirits of the human gods of Huaxia. Liu Yanran is surprised. She notes that her resonance with her contracted deity is increasing. The other divine guardians of Huaxia also feel an incredible strength building up within them. Yingjung says that he has dedicated his entire life to ensuring that the people of Great Qin can live peacefully and happily ever after, and that everyone in the world can act like dragons and remain healthy. Zhou Hao cries with emotion as the other two watch him. He praises the ancestor of Huaxia, saying that he secretly had such a noble plan. Yingjung is willing to do anything for his people, as long as his body exudes a great amount of power. The leader of the Hawk Nation observes that Yamata no Orochi sacrifices his people as a source of energy. However, the deity of Huaxia is willing to sacrifice his life for his people. The spectators of the Amerigo Nation watch the fight, awed by the power of the Eastern civilization. Yingjung asks where the celestial soldiers of the Great Qin Nation are. The celestial soldiers of Great Qin appear, declaring, "We are here!" Yingjung then orders them to destroy the remaining heads of the demon god. All the celestial soldiers shout that they will destroy the remaining heads of the demon god and prepare to attack. Yamata no Orochi is surprised by the commotion. The heavenly soldiers attack Yamata no Orochi with all their strength relentlessly. The demon god tries to fight back. Yamata no Orochi is furious and demands more sacrifices, and he begins to use the people of the Sakura Empire to strengthen himself. The Tokugawa Emperor is in panic. He knows that this cannot continue like this. Yamata no Orochi is using the elites of the Sakura country as sacrifices. The divine guardians of the Sakura Nation are shocked to see that they can no longer pay the high cost of maintaining Yamata no Orochi. They fear that this will be the end, and they revolt against their god because all Yamata no Orochi asks of them are sacrifices, while the god of Huaxia protects his descendants. And they begin to scream, wishing that Yamata no Orochi would die. Yingjung wields his sword. Towards Yamata no Orochi, he says that these people have been abandoned. Using all his strength, the human god delivers his final attack against the demon god. Aphrodite then announces that Yamata no Orochi has been defeated. Lu Changsheng looks at Matsumoto lying on the ground, stating that since Yamata no Orochi is dead, there is no reason to keep him alive, and finishes him off in one fell swoop. Another announcement is made that Matsumoto Minamoto is dead. Aphrodite has a formal announcement to make to the public. She announces that Lu Changsheng has defeated Matsumoto Minamoto. The score of the Sakura Nation against the Huaxia Nation is 2-1. A woman is surprised and amazed. Rector Li Xuan and the city lord are impressed by Lu Changsheng's victory, and how he defeated the divine as a mortal. Aphrodite declares that the next divine battle is about to begin, and asks the divine guardians to prepare themselves. She also says that Lu Changsheng's performance was amazing. Yingjung is completely weakened, already without strength, and having difficulty breathing and standing. The spectators of the Huaxia Nation are all worried about Yingjung. Dean Li Xuan notes that almost no one in the Huaxia Nation believed in Yingjung for this battle. He was also seriously injured after the battle. Lu Changsheng watches Yingjung transform into an energy form while calling out to him. He tells Lu Changsheng that he may not be able to continue fighting with him. Dean Li Xuan comments that a god's power depends on the number of believers, and that no one believed in the ancestor before the battle, but he truly gave his all. This makes everyone feel remorse for having underestimated Yingjung. At that moment, the system projects, showing that something has changed, and Lu Changsheng feels that the ancestor has not left and that they just need to believe more. After invoking the ancestor and increasing the resonance with his designated god, Pangu, also grew. Lu Changsheng predicts that if he invokes more deities in the future, he will be able to summon Pangu, and that the ancestor has not left, he is just resting, and when his name is praised again in Huaxia, he will return. In the Huaxia stands, people celebrate when they hear about the possibility of Yingzheng's return, and Dean Li Xuan declares that they cannot allow the gods of Huaxia to be buried in history, ordering the recording of the founder's deeds. Liu Qing says that the heavens have blessed Huaxia, as Lu Changsheng defeated Yamata no Orochi. When his assistant starts a new duel, it is then announced that Mako Hanma from the Sakura Nation will challenge Liu Qing from Huaxia to a divine duel in 10 minutes. Liu Qing, furious, realizes that Mako was a spy from the Sakura Nation all this time. Mako Hanma laughs, revealing that she had been by Liu Qing's side for 10 years, only for this opportunity. Without him, Huaxia would be doomed, even with an extremely talented divine guardian. She smiles maliciously, saying that Huaxia belongs to the Sakura Nation. Liu Qing prepares for battle, saying she asked for this, while a man says something to the dean, surprising him. The dean announces that Master Swordsman Liu Qing was attacked by a spy from the Sakura Nation and will not be able to reach the arena in time. Therefore, they need someone else for the next battle. A group of people reacts to the news, with a man expressing disbelief and indignation at the petty actions of the Sakura Nation, commenting that without the Master Swordsman, it will be difficult to win the fight. The dean explains that 2 of the 4 masters of Huaxia were killed by Yamata no Orochi, and that only Liu Qing has been able to defeat the Sakura Nation in these years. He and Lu Changsheng discuss the 4th battle that is about to begin. The dean declares that he will fight in the next battle, as the previous battle must have exhausted Lu Changsheng. Lu Changsheng confidently says that he will win the next fight. He insists that they let him go for the next battle. Dean Li Xuan asks Lu Changsheng not to push himself. Liu Yanran and Zhou Hao agree that Lu Changsheng has a better chance of winning the next fight. Lu Changsheng shows determination. He says he had a dream and begins to release energy, surprising everyone when the protagonist summons a large red bird. Lu Changsheng recalls a dream where an old god was smiling and comforting him. After waking up, Lu Changsheng learned about the hidden legacy of Huaxia. People react to what just happened, with Lu Changsheng admitting that he isn't sure what it was. Dean Li Xuan recalls that in the past, there was a great Buddhist master named Ru, who reached the path of life and immortality. He explains that understanding the path is not uncommon, and this explains why Lu Changsheng knows all the deities of Huaxia. Dean Li Xuan also tells Lu Changsheng that he knows he wants to prove himself, but he is more experienced and knows all the deities of Huaxia. And the Lord of the City says that he is young and talented and does not need to sacrifice himself so soon. When the protagonist summons the Great Spirit in the form of a phoenix, the Right looks at the spirit in awe. When he realizes it is the flaming phoenix god from 1,000 years ago, it is revealed that the deity summoned by Lu Changsheng is the flaming phoenix god from 1,000 years ago. People in the stands are amazed and comment that the casual description of the flaming phoenix is unique and has never been recorded before. People say that Lu Changsheng knows many hidden myths of Huaxia. Dean Li Xuan tells Lu Changsheng that he is not wrong and that summoning a god requires his own resistance. He asks him to rest and prepare for battle. The protagonist then heads toward Liu Yanran. He says something that causes the god the girl is a guardian of to appear. Then he turns and leaves. People watch Lu Changsheng, wondering what he is doing. Someone explains that he is summoning a Class S god for the Huaxia battle, although this will cause him to die sooner. Lu Changsheng is summoning a god, using his own life to protect Huaxia. Then Aphrodite announces that the 4th battle in the legendary arena between the Huaxia Nation and the Sakura Nation will begin soon. It is Lu Changsheng who will represent the Huaxia Nation. It is announced that the Huaxia Kingdom still belongs to the victorious genius Lu Changsheng, showing information about his summons. Unknown God, SSS Class God, Pangu, SS Class God, the Ancestor. Frozen. Momo Sakura introduces herself as the representative of the Sakura Nation. A group of spectators from the Sakura Nation observes Lu Changsheng, commenting on his appearance and the low likelihood of Huaxia's success in this battle. Emperor Tokugawa comments that the shadow planted near the Holy Swordsman has already acted, and the deity of the Sakura Nation is very seductive. Momo Sakura is determined to defeat the Sakura Nation this time. The Huaxia Nation spectators react to Momo Sakura's presence, finding her very beautiful. Dean Li Xuan and the Lord of the City comment that there is no information about Momo Sakura. The girl summons her deity, a nine-tailed fox. A 50-second countdown begins for the selection of the deity for each participant. Dean Li Xuan watches the protagonist and wonders if the girl is not summoning her deity. A group of people is pressuring Lu Changsheng to summon his deity as time is running out. When Momo's deity appears, a beautiful kitsune, Tamamo no Mei, the nine-tailed fox. In the Eagle Nation stands, people are surprised by the deity summoned by Momo Sakura, finding it very beautiful. In the Tianju Nation stands, people also react to the appearance of the deity, with one of them feeling enamored. The people in the Huaxia Nation stands say they have never seen or heard of her, finding the kitsune beautiful. Lu Changsheng smiles confidently, as he knows which deity Momo Sakura has summoned. The protagonist knows that Momo has summoned the leader of the three forces of the demonic gods of the Sakura Nation, and since he already knows that deity, he decides there's no need to wait. Then the protagonist touches the crystal to make his summoning. He looks surprised at his summoning. The summoned deity looks like an orc. The lord of the city is surprised that Lu Changsheng is summoning a demonic deity. Zhou Hao and Liu Yanran are worried about Lu Chang, with the girl saying that the assigned deity is the type of deity one can summon, and the assigned deity for the protagonist was Pangu, of the human type. As Lu Chang pays respect to the deity being summoned by him, the girl completes the thought that the consequence of summoning a deity of a different type is death. The protagonist introduces himself to the deity as Lu Changsheng, and welcomes General Iron Hog. People from the Sakura Nation discuss among themselves, thinking that the protagonist is crazy, as everyone who tried to summon a deity of a different type dies immediately. Emperor Tokugawa is pleased to see that the protagonist might die, thinking that Lu Chang no longer has the power to summon anyone else, making this his only choice. Suddenly, the protagonist's summoning takes on a human form, which shocks the audience. People from the Huaxia Nation celebrate, and the lord of the city says that Lu Changsheng came out unscathed by summoning a demonic deity, while the dean replies that he believes Pangu is not limited to human deities. With hope, the dean considers that Pangu, as the creator, is much deeper than they imagined. Finding it impossible, Emperor Tokugawa says that although this is a demonic summoning, it is still a man, and he has fallen for the charm of Tamamo no Mai. Lu Changsheng watches his divine summoning. When General Ironhog asks what they are talking about outside, the protagonist introduces himself and explains that this is the divine arena, and the other nations are trying to defeat Huaxia. Then he bows, begging the General Ironhog to help him fight the deities of the other nations. The general shrugs, saying he hates fighting. He just wants to sit and look at the moon and let time pass, and asks why he should care if others are invading Huaxia. Lu Changsheng watches the general move away, when he asks the general to wait for a moment, and asks if he still wants to meet Chang'e, and if he still wants to meet Wukong and the monk. The general responds that incense has diminished for them in this era, and asks how Lu Changsheng knows Chang'e, that monkey, and the monk. Confident, the protagonist says that not only does he know them, but he can also summon them. The general asks if he can really do that with the strength the boy has. Lu Changsheng responds that he knows the general doesn't want to become someone's pawn, but if he can summon a Huaxia deity, he will light up the night sky and restore his dignity. By allowing Chang'e, Wukong, and Xuanzang to escape their confinements to gain freedom, the protagonist asks if he will fight for Huaxia. The general begins to release energy and says that the protagonist really has courage to mess with him, attacking right afterward in his demonic form. While the protagonist is being suffocated, he partially invokes part of Pangu's spirit. This surprises the general, who calls Pangu his master. With that, he releases Lu Chang, who was about to lose consciousness. General Ironhog says he underestimated the boy, as he invoked his master, Pangu. Then the protagonist asks the general to fight for him. The general simply agrees, as his master is willing to help the protagonist. He says he will trust Lu Chang, and asks who they will fight against. Then Lu Chang points to the kitsune, and says that this is the nine-tailed deity. One of her abilities is to tempt and enchant men. The general thought it would be a tough fight, but now believes it will be much easier. The people of the Sakura Nation mock Lu Chang and the general, saying he has already fallen under Momo's charms without realizing it. When the general strikes the ground with his rake, now in his human form exuding power, a girl from the Bangzi Nation is enchanted by the General Ironhog's human appearance, and a man from the Tianju Nation says that they cannot underestimate the power of the demon deity of Huaxia, while an old man from the Eagle Nation asks if General Ironhog will be able to resist the charms of the Kitsune Tamamo no Mei. In the arena, Momo calls Lu Chang Lu San, saying that his invoked deities are very beautiful and that she has a proposition for him. Then she removes her kimono and asks the protagonist to join the Sakura Nation, promising that they will treat him with the best they have. Unlike the Huaxia Nation, They will not make someone who has just awakened fight several times in a row, and that the great Sakura nation will provide all the support for him and his deity to become much more powerful. The dean is worried because he knows that what Momo is doing is a psychological attack. While the city lord shouts for Liu Chang not to fall for these tricks, she still promises that the protagonist will have all the money and power he wants, and if he wants, he can have her as well. The people of the Sakura nation are tempted by the proposition of power, money, and having Momo as theirs, saying they would have already accepted the offer. Then she asks what Liu Chang thinks of the proposals and if he has made a decision. The protagonist stares at her smiling and rejects the offer. Then Momo uses her charm and says that if she is not good enough, he can choose any woman he wants from the Sakura nation. Liu Chang imagines himself surrounded by women, but he realizes that he is falling under her charm and activates the Celestial Soldier projection. Now the protagonist can use General Ironhog's weapon, as he has decided to fight for Liu Chang. Momo provokes the protagonist, saying that he would have a bright future, but the protagonist says that when he was learning history, his teacher told him something. Honor is within reach of a blade, truth is within reach of a cannon, and that if he runs, her bullying will be even more brutal. He affirms that if he runs, how could he look the people of his nation in the eye? Huaxia is a nation of virtues. It welcomes friends with delicacies and faces enemies with weapons. These words make the people of Huaxia unite even more against the Sakura nation. As Liu Chang prepares to attack, people shout that the Sakura nation must pay for everything they have done to them, that the Huaxia nation must destroy all who oppose them. At the Huaxia deity's temple, the boy responsible for it notices something unusual happening. He shouts that the fortune scroll is open, and now the nation has at least twice the fortune. Back in the arena, Liu Chang jumps toward Momo to attack her. She uses her fan as a weapon, defending the attack and pushing her back. She is surprised by Liu Chang, who, despite being a beginner, is very strong, and she plans not to spare him. Hey guys, have you hit the like button yet? What do you think Momo will do to try and defeat the protagonist? Leave your thoughts in the comments. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. Thanks a lot, and see you in the next video.